Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Keiko Yasukawa, and I'm the TESOL and Applied Linguistics Program Coordinator. And I have with me Sita Chopra, who...
Hi, everybody. I'm the Director of Postgraduate Coursework here in FAS.
Yeah. So I'll start out by acknowledging that we're meeting on Aboriginal land. I'm on the land of the Camaragal people, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and any Indigenous people joining us at this meeting. So welcome to this information session for the TESOL and Applied Linguistics program. Before we start, I just want to let you know that this meeting is being recorded, so you might just want to read this slide to make sure you're happy to be participating. So I hope that's okay, and I will get started in the presentation of information to you about our program. So why study TESOL and Applied Linguistics? TESOL, I hope those of you who are here are familiar with the acronym. It stands for Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. Teaching English to speakers of other languages. And Applied Linguistics includes the application of our knowledge of language in different fields. We focus on teaching, and we focus on teaching English language and literacy and also numeracy. And we have a pretty flexible course, so you can tailor the course for working in a range of different teaching contexts, for working overseas or working locally in Australia, working in programs like the Adult Migrant Education Program, or in Second Chance Adult Education, teaching primary and secondary schools, teaching English for academic purposes. I'll tell you a little bit more about employment opportunities further down the track. And so this is a course or program that's suitable for those of you who want to make a career change in teaching English as an additional language, or teaching literacy to children or to adults. Or you might already be in the education field and you want to add, teaching English or teaching literacy as a specialism. Or, you might already be working in the field of TESOL or adult literacy, and you want to update and upgrade your qualification for, a refresher or for career advancement. So we have a mix of students with different goals and from different backgrounds, all working together. So the program consists of 3 different courses. They're different because they're at different levels of qualifications, but they are sort of what we call a nested suite of courses. And the master's is at the highest level. The Master of TESOL and Applied Linguistics, it consists of 12 subjects, consisting of 6 compulsory subjects, 1 specialist stream, which I'll tell you about, and 4 electives. You can study full-time or part-time. If you study full-time, you would need to do 4 subjects every semester to complete in the shortest possible time, which is 1.5 years. This is, of course, assuming that you don't get any advanced standing. But then again, many students do, so you may well be able to complete the course in less than 1.5 years. But if you don't have any advanced standing, you would be studying 4 subjects each semester. But many of our students who are working or have, heavy care responsibilities or other responsibilities study part-time. And clearly part-time study takes longer to complete the course because you would be only studying maybe one subject a semester or two subjects a semester. So you can study slowly or quickly depending on your circumstances. And we have three specialist streams. One stream is in the adult literacy and numeracy area. This is teaching English language, literacy, and numeracy to adults in the adult education sector, typically in Australia. Then there's the EALD and literacy stream. This is teaching primary or secondary school students, teaching students who are English language learners, needing special support and methodology to help them develop their English and literacy in the English language, and to achieve their academic demands, meet their academic demands in their school education. Then there's English for academic purposes. This can be teaching international students who want to do tertiary study in an English-speaking country, or it might be, supporting students for whom English is their first language, but who need extra help in their academic language and literacy demands. So this is the master's. Then there's the graduate diploma, which is nested within the master's degree. So you can articulate from the graduate diploma to the master's if you want to. But the graduate diploma consists of 8 subjects, and it's made up of 5 compulsory core subjects, 1 specialist stream, and 1 elective. Again, if you want to study full-time and complete in the minimum possible time, you would be studying 4 subjects each semester over 2 semesters. Part-time students would take longer, studying 1 or 2 subjects a semester. You have the choice of the same 3 streams that I mentioned for the master's, the adult literacy and numeracy stream, the English as an additional language or dialect, and literacy in the school sector, and English for academic purposes. So many of our students would enroll in the graduate diploma, and at the end of it, they continue on into the master's. So the graduate diploma can articulate into the master if you want, or some people would just take out the graduate diploma, start working in the field, but then many of them do come back later to do the master's to gain further knowledge. The graduate certificate is, I guess, the entry-level qualification. It consists of 4 subjects, and there are no choices in the 4 subjects for the graduate certificate. So full-time students can complete the qualification in 1 semester, and part-time students can take longer. So these are the 3 qualifications, and as one of our graduates from the graduate certificate said, this course refocused my attention on how we teach and the best ways of getting the most out of our English language learning students. Rachel was an experienced school teacher, teaching a lot of refugee students, but she wanted to get a qualification for teaching English language learners, and she came and studied with us and found the course useful in giving her additional skills to work with her learners. So what kinds of jobs do the graduates get? So this is just, an indicative set of jobs that our graduates are doing. Those who focused, those who tailored their course in the adult literacy and numeracy stream have gone on to teach adults English as a second language, Some of them are working in the Adult Migrant English program, which is a government-funded program for recently arrived migrants. It's an English language and settlement program. Others are working in what we call Second Chance Adult Education Program. This is teaching literacy and numeracy to adults who, they may be from an English-speaking background, but for a whole range of different reasons, did not do very well in school or may not have had the opportunity to finish school. And so they come back as adults into, say, a TAFE college to improve their literacy and numeracy. And this may be to enhance their employability, or it may be adults who have become parents and they want to be able to help their own children with their school literacy and numeracy, or they're adults who kind of had never overcome the stigma of not being able to read very well or not being able to manage their everyday numeracy needs. And so they come back to develop these skills and to learn with other adults. So this is called second chance education or foundation skills or adult basic education. There are graduates who are teaching English or literacy or numeracy in workplaces. Many employers engage adult educators to help their employees with English language, literacy, and numeracy needs that they identify in their workplace. A lot of our graduates are working in vocational programs, helping vocational learners. They may be studying a hairdressing course or a plumbing course or a business admin course where there are literacy and numeracy needs. And our graduates are working alongside business admin teachers or hairdressing teachers or commercial cookery teachers to support their learners with the English language, literacy, and numeracy needs. And one of our graduates is managing the Reading and Writing Hotline, which is a national referral system funded by the Commonwealth government for adult literacy learners, adults who ring up the hotline to say, you know, I'm 56 years old and I finally drummed up the courage to seek help in improving my literacy. Can you suggest a program I can enroll in? And if any of you have watched the SBS program recently called Lost for Words, that was a program, and you can access this SBS online. This was a program about adults who, you know, in their adulthood come back to develop their literacy skills because they never had the opportunity when they were younger. So there's some of the jobs that our graduates who specialize in the adult literacy and numeracy stream go into. Our graduates who are from the EALD, English as an Additional Language or Dialect, and Literacy in Schools. This stream produces graduates who work in primary or secondary schools in New South Wales. So they might be, you know, secondary maths teachers, but they come and do our course so that they can help their English language learners in their maths class better. And if you've, you know, if you are already teaching or if you've been in, you know, any school, any public school in New South Wales, you know, it's very multicultural, it's very multilingual, and I don't know if there would be any classroom in Sydney which doesn't have an English language learner in the classroom. So many teachers see the need and the value to develop specialist skills in supporting their English language learners. But some of our teachers go and work in intensive English centers, which are attached to generally secondary schools in the New South Wales public school system. They cater for, recently arrived migrants and refugee students, and they may spend 6 months, 12 months in an intensive English center before they move into, what we might call mainstream classrooms. And then some of our students are going to be teaching English in primary and secondary schools overseas. We have a group of Chinese students who are already teaching or want to teach English in schools in China. And one of our graduates is now leading the refugee support programs in New South Wales schools after finishing our qualification. Our graduates who graduate with the academic English strand, they may work in teaching academic English to international students who are preparing for tertiary study in Australia. Some of you may be familiar with what's called the IELTS exam or the TOEFL exam. They're English language proficiency exams that international students have to achieve a certain standard in order to be admitted into vet courses or university courses in Australia. And many of the international students don't quite make the mark, and so they enroll in these English language colleges to improve their English language skills and to achieve the equivalent of the IELTS score or the TOEFL score that they need. So this is a big sector, and currently, because of the border closures, it's suffered, but I'm sure it will pick up quite rapidly as soon as the borders open, because a lot of international students want to study in Australia. But also universities have academic English programs, because even after gaining entry into Australian universities, international students and also local students, students who are English language background students need additional help in academic uses of English language and literacy. So at UTS, we have what's called the HELPS program, which stands for Higher Education Language and Presentation Skills program, where we help our students improve their academic language and literacy skills for both written and oral presentations. There's also teaching academic language and support classes overseas. So many of our international students are teaching English in foreign universities and colleges. So this is just a snapshot of the range of opportunities that our qualifications open up for you. And I might also add that many of our graduates go on to do research degrees, a master's degree or PhD. And so we welcome students who go on to do research degrees as well. So why study TESOL and Applied Linguistics? Well, I would argue that, teachers who teach English language to migrants, refugees, international students, or teachers who teach literacy and numeracy to adults in second language programs, they're all contributing to social justice, because access to language, literacy, and numeracy learning is a human right. So we are expanding people's opportunities in life by teaching English language, literacy, and numeracy to those who want to learn. And, it's a really rewarding career. because you are helping people grow and develop and succeed in life. And we've had many students coming into our course. They may have, achieved a lot of success, for example, in the corporate sector. And maybe they've retired from the corporate sector. And I've had a lot of students who've come to our course saying, I've achieved all I want in my corporate career. Now I want to do something where I can give back to society. I want something really meaningful. And they come and join the course, and they might end up, teaching what I call second chance adult learners, or teaching English language learners in primary school, and so on. And there is a community demand for English language teachers, for literacy and numeracy teachers. Many of us teaching in the program are engaged in the professional associations, and we are very aware of the need for more teachers in schools who can help English language learners, and teachers in the adult education sector in Australia have been screaming out for workforce renewal over many years now. Excuse me. So I hope you can see that our qualifications can lead you to a new teaching career or advancement in your existing teaching career. I work with a team of colleagues who are very experienced in teaching, teaching English overseas, teaching academic English in Australia, teaching literacy and numeracy in the adult education field, working in curriculum development through foreign aid work. We're also all, active in the research field. So, we bring what we learn from our research into our teaching, and we learn about what's happening in the field through working with you and working with teachers in the field to inform our research. So we've got a very strong connection between research and practice in the way we design our courses, and in the way we deliver our courses, in the way we engage with the field. And we offer our programs in flexible mode. So most of our classes are offered in the late evening, or not late evenings, late afternoon and early evenings, and in blended form. So it means that you can study all online if you can't come on campus, but hopefully next year we will be able to teach on campus. And so those of you who can come to campus can study from the campus. But whether you're studying online or on campus, one of the strong features of our program is that, there is interaction with other students and with your teaching, with your teachers in the program. So online doesn't mean, you get abandoned to access materials online and never interact with anyone while you do your work. We are in touch with you, we interact with you, and you will also be interacting with other students. Admissions requirements. So you must have completed a UTS recognized bachelor's degree. And this could be in a broad range of areas. If you don't have a bachelor's degree, some equivalent or higher qualification submitted with other evidence of general and professional qualifications that demonstrates that you have the potential to pursue graduate studies, because we want everyone to succeed. And so we design our courses based on the assumption that you have completed an undergraduate degree. So if you haven't, you know, just provide the evidence that, you know, convinces us that you're ready for graduate studies, because we don't want to, you know, accept students who aren't ready, because then you'll have, well, not a very nice experience. So a bachelor's degree in the range of fields, including education, management and commerce, society and culture, or creative arts. If you don't have a bachelor's degree in those areas, you have a bachelor's degree in science or engineering, you're still welcome. But please submit a personal statement, you know, telling us, you know, why you want to make this kind of career change, and the CV. And we do have a lot of students from, you know, science and engineering and all sorts of different areas. There is an English language requirement for international students, an academic IELTS of 6.5 overall with a writing score of 6, or TOEFL paper-based, 550 to 583 overall, and other specifications shown on this slide, which I won't read out, but hopefully you can read for yourself if it's relevant. And then we'll go on to application deadlines, which I'll hand over to Sita.
Thank you, Keiko. So in terms of application deadlines for study in autumn session in February/March 2022, if you are a applicant who's residing domestically, then you can apply through our UTS online application system, and the cutoff date is really late January. Whereas if you are an international applicant, the cutoff date is the 15th of January, and you can apply via the International Office webpage. We've had a couple of questions in the chat about Commonwealth supported places. The graduate diploma has a limited number of places, and we strongly encourage people to apply by the 9th of January if they wish to be considered for a Commonwealth supported place. And if you do receive an offer for a CSP, that you accept that as soon as you can, so that secures your Commonwealth supported place. How we decide who gets that Commonwealth supported place, it's all merit based. So just keep that information in mind when you're considering which course to apply for. In terms of recognition of prior learning, if you've completed a CELTA or some study at other universities, and you complete a recognition of prior learning documentation at admission, then that will be evaluated by Keiko and the academic team to see if that reduces your study time with us.
Thanks, Sita. And in terms of RPL,
Yes.
the CELTA will give you advanced standing for the first practicum subject. And similarly, if you are a qualified teacher, you will get RPL for the first practicum subject. And you know, depending on what you're qualified in as a school teacher, you may get additional RPL.
Great.
I can answer further RPL questions, but I might just show the, I think this is the final slide.
Yes, Keiko, I'm happy to speak to
Thank
that one. This is just an overview of the fees for 2022. So as you can see there, we've put up the indicative fees for the Commonwealth supported places there in the graduate diploma. I'd also answered one of the questions in the chat earlier. Somebody had asked about the alumni discount. So if you are a graduate of UTS and you are applying for one of the courses in terms of the full fee courses, then you are eligible for a 10% discount. If you are applying for the Commonwealth supported place, due to the heavy subsidisation of those fees already, the 10% is not available there. And just to note that those fees that we've put up are for 2022, and any fees past 2022 will be available on the UTS website later in this year.
Thank you. And I think the next slide is for questions, but I might stop sharing the slide because in case that's causing the internet instability. So any questions?
We've got quite a few questions actually, so I'll just take them one by one. The first one asks, in the course descriptions in the handbook,
Yes.
it says that each qualification, that's the graduate certificate to the master's extension, provides a recognised qualification for teaching English as an additional language and literacy to children, teens and adults. What is this qualification and who is it recognised by?
Okay, that's a complicated but obviously a very important question. If you want to teach in New South Wales schools, in primary or secondary school, none of our TESOL qualifications on its own will qualify you to teach English as an additional language or dialect in schools. So if you want to teach in primary or secondary school, you must have a separate primary or secondary teaching qualification. And the graduate certificate and the graduate certificate, the graduate diploma and masters will give you the additional specialism that the Department of Education and Training will recognize, provided you undertake a supervised practicum in a school setting, and then you can, have the additional EALD specialism added to your, registration as a New South Wales school teacher. If you want to work in the adult education sector, you don't need a school teaching qualification. Our graduate certificate will be sufficient as a qualification to teach English as a second language in English language colleges. And the graduate diploma will, with the adult specialization, is the only university qualification that you would need to teach adults English as a second language or literacy and numeracy in the adult education sector. Having said that, I just need to add the caveat that some adult education providers require an additional qualification called the Certificate 4 in Training and Assessment. This is a pre-university qualification. Not all adult education providers require this additional qualification, but some do, and I can elaborate on that further, but I won't labor on this point because it's a bit tedious. To teach in the university sector, you don't need any additional qualification than what our graduate diploma masters offers. So I hope that addresses the question.
Thanks, Keiko. The second question is related. So it says, are any of these courses recognised by a government, national or state body, such as NESA?
Okay, so NESA, as I mentioned, will recognize any of our postgraduate TESOL and Applied Linguistics course as a specialist qualification to teach, to I guess, be an EALD literacy teacher in primary or secondary school, provided you already have a teaching qualification recognized by NESA or other state authorities, and you do a supervised practicum in an EALD context in a primary or secondary school.
Great, thank you, Keiko. Now we have a question about the practicum components in the courses.
Yes.
So can you do more than one? And does the university help you find the placement?
Okay. So in the graduate certificate, there's a supervised practicum subject. So that's one. And if you do the graduate diploma, you have to do a second practicum subject. And, I would advise students to do the graduate diploma, at least if you want to maximize your employment prospects, because from the employer's perspective, the more experience you have, the more desirable you have for them. And yes, we do assist students in securing their practicums.
And Keiko, is it right that if you wanted to do that second practicum, it's actually embedded in each of the 3 streams? Is that?
Yes, thank you, Sita. So the second practicum is undertaken in the specialist stream that you choose. So if you do the adult education stream, there's a subject called Teaching Adult Literacy and Numeracy, and that has a sort of, I guess, academic coursework component and the practicum component, and you would be doing your practicum in an adult education college with the teaching EALD and literacy and school subject. Similarly, there's an academic component and a practicum in the school. Same deal with teaching academic English.
And we have a question here that relates to those streams, so I might just go to that. Mm-hmm. So the question is there a specialist stream that focuses on in an international setting? Example, teaching English at a university in a non-English speaking country.
Yep, that would be the teaching academic English strand. So we have, students who are teaching English in a university in Saudi Arabia, for example. They would do the teaching academic English strand.
Great, so it's quite a versatile qualification.
Yes.
We've got another question, and thank you everybody for all of these questions. It says, when looking in the handbook, most of the courses say that the subjects are primarily online, especially lectures. Is this a result of COVID circumstances or the norm?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Certainly it's COVID that shifted us dramatically to online delivery, and the last 2 years we've been delivering everything online. From next year, if, crossing our fingers, if we can get back onto campus, we will continue to give you access to online lectures. So what we have been doing is recording lectures and uploading them onto the learning management system, so you can listen, view, study the lectures in asynchronous mode, i.e. in your own time. And then we have been holding synchronous, i.e. real-time tutorials the last 2 years via Zoom, but we're hoping that next year, when hopefully we can be back on campus, we will be holding classes on campus. However, if you can't come onto campus for whatever reason, if we have enough students, we will hold an on-campus class and an online-only class. If we don't have quite enough students to have two separate classes, we will have something called a hybrid class, where those who can come to campus will study in the classroom and the teacher will be in the classroom. And those who can't come on campus will be zooming into that class. So you'll be joining discussions with students on campus via Zoom. So that'll be what we call a hybrid class.
Thanks, Keiko. I've got a couple of questions here asking about if there's any time frame or restriction to be admitted to the course in terms of when somebody may have completed a bachelor's degree.
Well, I think you can apply now, and if you're still completing your degree, I think what the university does is to give you a conditional offer. So we don't want you trying to complete your bachelor's degree at the same time that you're studying our course, because we don't think that's really viable in terms of your study load. So, if you're going to finish your course, have everything finished in the middle of January, well, our course doesn't start until, what is it, next year, late February or March. So you'll still be able to start our course in the first half.
Just jumping in, because I'm not quite sure with this question if it may also be about, say, if you completed your bachelor's 10 to 15 years ago, is that still acceptable for admission? The answer is definitely yes, where it might be where we do actually look at the duration between completion and the start of the degree is more around recognition of prior learning. But in terms of admission, if you completed your bachelor's degree 10 to 15 years ago, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and in terms of RPL for our course, one of the subjects that a large number of our students get RPL for is the first practicum subject. And, some of you, well, maybe not, but we have had students who completed their bachelor's degree, 30 years ago, and they've been working as a teacher for 30 years. We're not going to say, oh, we're not going to recognize that RPL because you finished your teaching qualification 30 years ago. We will definitely recognize your teaching qualification to give you RPL for that practicum subject.
And Yang is just asking, I think they have a master's degree in international business finished in 2008. Would that be acceptable?
It's certainly acceptable as an entry requirement. Whether there are subjects in your business degree that counts for RPL in our course, I'm not sure, but I'm open to anything.
Okay, we've got a few more questions here before we end off tonight. One of them is around whether the courses prepare students for working as IELTS instructors or as invigilators.
I think some of our students are working, or graduates have worked as IELTS instructors and examiners. So yes, that's an area.
Possibly both then, yes.
I guess so, yeah.
And do you know if any of our graduates have actually gone on to teach at international schools?
International schools being international schools overseas, or
like international grammar school? I'm not sure. It just says here international schools.
Right. Certainly some of our students are working in international schools overseas, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if some of our graduates are teaching in, international schools in Sydney or in Australia.
Okay, and we've just got one last question here.
Mhm.
I think I read that the graduate diploma had limited CSP places, but the other courses do not. Why is this?
Why is this?
I might just try to jump in and answer that
Yes,
one.
please.
This is actually in accordance with government guidelines that we've had to comply with. So the graduate diploma is basically the fastest way that you could enter the profession if you're coming from a non-cognate background. All right, thanks everybody. I'm just, oh no, we have one more question.
Yes.
Perfect. Yang's just asking, is there a normal school hours of learning available? My work is mainly at night.
Okay, so most of our, as I've said, the lectures can be accessed at any day of the week, any time in the day. Our classes tend to be from either 3:30 to 5 or 5:30 to 7. And for each subject, you only have one, one of these 1.5 hour tutorials each week. So if you are working full time, you probably will only be studying 1 or 2 subjects at the most. And we try to minimize the number of days that you actually have to attend class. So if you enroll in the course and you want to discuss subject choices to minimize the number of days you have to spread yourself, I can help you in choosing the subject. So, you don't have to log in on Monday and Wednesday. You can do everything on the Monday or everything on the Wednesday or whatever. Might not work all the time, but we can help you to minimize the spread of days.
And just one other question, is 50 overall the pass mark per subject?
Yes, I mean, the subjects are graded. So, you can get a pass, credit, distinction, or high distinction. We don't give numerical marks. We give you the grade and we give you written comments. So, you won't get a grade saying, you were, 63P or 72C. But yes, I guess technically 50% is the pass mark for the university.
Okay, great. So that's all of the questions that we've had come through the Q&A.
Well, thank you everyone for your attendance and interest, and I hope we see all of you with us next year. And as I said, if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to email me, and I would be very happy to help you. So thank you again.
Thanks everyone. I hope you found this an informative session, and we hope to see you next year.
Yes.